My name is Daniel. I'm 62 years old, and I thought that after more than 30 years of marriage my wife and I understood each other perfectly. We had been through difficult times together, raising children, financial struggles, long nights worrying about the future. All of that builds something strong between two people, at least. That's what I believed, until the morning my wife secretly followed me to the lake because she thought I was cheating on her. It started on a quiet Friday evening. I was sitting in the kitchen drinking tea when my phone rang. The name on the screen made me smile. It was my old friend Mark. Mark and I had known each other for over 40 years. We met when we were young. Before life became complicated. Back then our biggest problems were catching fish and figuring out how to fix his old boat. Daniel, he said on the phone, the weather is perfect tomorrow. Let's go fishing like the old days. I laughed. Mark, we're not 20 anymore. Exactly, he replied. That's why we should go now while our backs still work. I agreed. It had been months since I last went fishing, and the idea of spending a quiet morning by the lake sounded perfect. My wife Sarah was sitting in the living room while I was on the phone. When I finished the call, she looked at me carefully. Who was that? She asked. Mark, I said. We're going fishing tomorrow morning. She nodded slowly. Fishing? Yes. Just the two of us. Lake Greenfield. She didn't say anything else, but something about the way she looked at me felt different, suspicious. I didn't think much of it at the time. After all these years together, I never imagined she would doubt me. The next morning Mark arrived at 6 exactly. His old pickup truck made the same rattling sound it had made for the past 15 years. Some things never change. I grabbed my fishing gear and quietly stepped outside. Before getting into the truck, I turned around for a moment. Through the living room window I saw the curtain move slightly. Sarah was watching me leave. I assumed she had just woken up early. I waved, but the curtain closed again. During the drive, Mark noticed I was quiet. You look like someone told you bad news, he said. Sarah has been acting strange lately, I admitted. Strange how? I don't know. Like she doesn't trust me. Mark laughed. Daniel, you've been married longer than most people stay alive. Trust me, every marriage has moments like that. Maybe he was right. We drove for about 40 minutes before reaching the lake. Lake Greenfield was peaceful in the early morning. The water was calm, and a light mist floated above the surface. The kind of place where the world feels quiet. We carried our gear down to the dock and started preparing the fishing rods. That's when I heard something, a car engine. I turned my head toward the dirt road behind the trees. A car slowly stopped near the edge of the forest, and I immediately recognized it. It was Sarah's car. My heart sank. Mark, I said quietly. What? My wife is here. He looked confused. What do you mean she's here? She followed me. Mark started laughing. You're joking. I wish I was. A moment later the car door opened. Sarah stepped out. She walked toward us with a serious expression on her face. Mark looked like he wanted to disappear. Good morning, she said. I stared at her. Sarah. What are you doing here? She crossed her arms. I think the better question is what you are doing here. Fishing, I replied. With who? Mark slowly raised his hand. Hi. For a few seconds nobody spoke. Then Sarah looked around the lake carefully. No woman? She asked. What? The woman you're supposed to meet. It took me a moment to understand what she meant. You think I came here to meet another woman? She didn't answer, but her silence told me everything. Mark sighed and rubbed his face. Well. This got uncomfortable very fast. Sarah had convinced herself that my fishing trip was just an excuse. She believed I was secretly meeting someone. That's why she followed my car all the way to the lake. At first I felt angry, but when I looked at her more closely, I saw something else behind her anger. Fear. Sarah, I said calmly, you could have just asked me. I did ask you, she replied, and I answered you. You said everything was fine. Because it is. She looked down at the ground. I thought you were hiding something. Mark looked between us. Well. Since everyone is already here. He picked up another fishing rod from his bag. Anyone want to actually fish? For the first time since arriving at the lake, Sarah smiled slightly. So the three of us sat on the dock, fishing. The situation was awkward at first, but slowly the tension started to fade, the quiet water, the cool air, the sound of birds. It calmed all of us. After a while Sarah finally spoke again. 2 weeks ago, she said quietly, I saw messages on your phone. What messages? You were texting someone named Alex. I blinked. Alex is my boss. She froze. Oh. And those messages were about the surprise trip I'm planning for our anniversary. Sarah stared at me. You're planning a trip? Yes. Mark started laughing so hard he nearly dropped his fishing rod. You followed your husband through the woods because of vacation messages? Sarah covered her face with her hands. I feel ridiculous. I gently put my arm around her shoulders. You're not ridiculous, I said softly, you were just worried. She leaned closer to me. I thought I was losing you. You're not losing me. Just then my fishing rod bent sharply. Daniel. Mark shouted. You've got something. I grabbed the rod as the line pulled hard into the water. Whatever was on the other end was strong, very strong. Sarah jumped to her feet. Don't lose it. I'm trying. After several intense minutes, a huge fish finally surfaced. It was one of the biggest carp I had ever seen. Mark whistled. Well. That alone made the trip worth it. Sarah laughed. See? If I didn't follow you, I would have missed this. I smiled. Maybe you were meant to come. That evening we drove home together. The suspicion Sarah carried with her to the lake slowly disappeared during the day. Sometimes relationships fall apart because people stop caring, but sometimes they almost break because people care too much. And if I learned one thing that day, it's this: trust is important, but talking is even more important, because if Sarah had simply asked one more question, she wouldn't have had to follow her 62-year-old husband into the woods to find the truth.